We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop, we live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the chop shop. Yeah, it's lit in the chop shop. Turn your dials up in the drop top. They ain't mixing debate, but they keep it fact straight. Going 30 for 30. Let's do a first take on Facebook Live from 12 to 2. Rob Hatter and Jim Hicks going back and forth like Carter Ray and Skip Bayless and Steven Smith. From on the court, off the court, straight to the field. Not a man that steals, but I made it steal. To the octagon where I fight to kill. We go face to face, then you right your wheel. I don't play tennis, but I bring the racket. I'm on the floor, I attack the basket. Put you in the casket when I'm overlapping. Never showing mercy, cause I'm always snapping. Never showing mercy when I'm in the arena. Step into the ring, he hit me as I beat him. Step into the court, I'm never backing down. Killing competition, I'm smacking down. Let me get back to the other stuff at the chop shop, cause they cutting up. It's retro, coming to you live to the chop shop. Now let's turn it up. Yeah, we in the chop shop, man. Shout out to Jim Hicks and Rob Hatter. You can catch the chop shop live from 12 to 2 on Facebook Live. Let's get it. We in the chop shop. We live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop. We live in the chop shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the chop shop. We in the chop shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the chop shop.
H-Town, what's up? You know what time it is. It's time for the best 120 minutes of your day. The Chop Shop, the nation's #1 urban sports talk show, and also your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Robert Hatter, alongside Jim Hicks, and the mighty Chris Walker, who needs.
How about them Cowboys? Oh, my bad. Sorry about that. Oh, how about them Cowboys?
Hey, how about them? Hey, Jimmy, I'm not gonna go there, Jimmy.
Where's Rick Whitmore at? Where's Rick Whitmore? That's all I want to know. Where you at, Rick? Rick, where you at?
What? Hey, in the words of Herb Baker, Cowboy fans' asses was tighter than the nuts on the Golden Gate Bridge.
That's my words. What did you talk about?
Scoring 37 points?
They're my words.
Oh, that's scoring 37 points?
Up the Golden Gate Bridge.
Okay, that's yours. In the words of Robert Hatter.
Hey, Chris. Hey, Jimmy, tell Chris, I was going to text you this, but just move up in your shot. Your head down too low. Just move up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just get your head up. That's all. People want to see your face. You know, but Jimmy, I think
you gotta pull my screen up a little bit.
That's all. You good. But Jimmy, welcome back, college basketball.
Man, I'm so excited. It's tipped off already, and I'll give you guys an update as we strive to get better by the day on the Chop Shop. Of course, right now at halftime, or right entering the half, the Baylor Bears are up 50-32 over Central Arkansas. And understand, Baylor's not normally a team that racks up 50 points in the first half. They like to go through various options in their offense a lot of the time. But guess what? 53 now, just hit a three-pointer. 53-32 with about 30 seconds left in the first half. And I'm going to tell you something. This kid, Frank Gillespie, 12 points. The little kid from Louisiana, Butler, 16 points in the first half. Those two guys combined are 10 for 14 from the field. And Gillespie, he has 4 of 7 from three-point land. Hey, man, this is what – and I'm going to tell you something. If you're a summer coach out there, if you're a parent out there, pay attention to the box scores. Pay attention to some of these games. Because some of these – various schools are recruiting your kids. And if you're not taking initiative to familiarize yourself with rotations, with how many players from which your relative position is the same position, then how would you understand? So, Chris, you being a resident college coach, what's the normal rotation? How deep that does normally a Power 5 school go and tell us that first.
It depends on their style of play. So if they're a team that generally plays up and down, more fast break, shoot the ball quick, kind of like the Rockets, they probably play more people. So every time I work at a university, I put the number 8 in the preseason. I put the number 8 on my blackboard, on my posy board. Big old number 8. And they always walk in, hey, coach. And they never ask. They just walk by. They be like, man, what's he talking about 8? They never know what 8 means. And then one day, one of them finally get the courage to be like, hey, coach, what does the 8 stand for? Now, understand this. Everybody has to understand that there are 13 scholarships on every team. They get 13 full scholarships. That number 8 up there stands for only 8 of y'all are playing. So all of you guys are all state. Some of you are all American. Some of you are all whatever you were, ranked in the country, but only 8 of you will get on that floor. So you can be a buddy with that dude all you want. You can hang out with your roommate and go eat tacos with him all you want, but one of y'all not playing. So you better understand what that number 8 is. And college basketball, especially like a team like Duke or Kentucky, that 8 is like 6 or 7. You know, sometimes that Duke used to only play 5 dudes back in the day. So they playing 6, and people got to understand a place like Kentucky, they won't fill out 13 scholarships. And Villanova kind of does it that way as well, because when you got 13 high-level players, Hatter, it's like Alabama. Everybody's not playing. So you know what you spend half your time doing? Talking people off the ledge. Don't commit suicide. Don't leave. You spend half your time telling them to do what? Wait on your turn. So what college coaches do, they say, you know what? If we only going to play 8, let's get 10. Let's get a bunch of them paid walk-ons, Jimmy, right? Let's get a bunch of dudes that can walk on, a bunch of paid campers, right? They can probably build a couple of buildings on the campus and throw a couple of dollars into the building fund like they do at the church. And then we'll have 10, guys in case we get a couple of injuries and not everybody happy. You know what I'm saying, Hatter? That's how they do it. So 8 is probably the maxed out number that you're going to see in a game that's playing legitimate minutes. Legitimate, I would say, is double digits. You get in the game for 10 minutes, you're legitimately playing in the college game.
And that's as a freshman, you mean?
I mean, if you even as a role player, if you get in the game for 10 minutes, you're a part of the game. You got a chance to affect it. As a freshman now, at the highest level, and you're playing, you're a pretty good player. Either the team is terrible, right? Either the team's not very good, which I experienced at Cal because we had to play a lot of young dudes, right, to start it off. That's just how it is when you're trying to build a program, and you're probably going to lose. When you play a bunch of young guys, you're going to lose until you get older. Yes. You lose until you get older. That's just how it works, right? Yeah, you're going to lose. Yeah. And so if you're a freshman and you're playing max minutes, either they lost a guy, you were a high-level recruit, or somebody's injured, or the team isn't very good, period. Because a team that's really, really, really good, and when I talk about Duke, Michigan State, when I talk about the Blue Bloods, a team that's really, really, really good, a freshman is not coming in and beating out a senior or a junior. It's not happening. Unless they have an unbelievable need and you are a high-level recruit or somebody's injured. Right?
Can I ask you a question? What is considered a high-level recruit?
I mean, give it a kid like a 5-star. A 5-star recruit is a high-level recruit.
So 4 stars or not?
Well, I mean, 5 and 4. That again, when you start saying 5 and 4, 25, I think Jimmy is more equipped to answer. If you're top 25, you're a 5-star. When did it become a 4-star? Because they've actually dragged that 4-star thing out a little bit more. So it depends on who you look at when you're looking at their rankings, who you're looking at. The 4 stars are guys in the top 150. Yeah. Some of those 4 stars are top 150. And you got to realize the kid Jackson Hayes, who played at Texas. I remember someone said on the Facebook feed a while back, man, kids shouldn't go to Texas. No one goes to the pros. Jackson Hayes was top 150 and ended up being a lottery pick.
Unbelievable.
Ended up being a lottery pick.
And playing minutes now in the NBA.
Right. But you know why? Long, athletic, and got opportunity. That's what people got to realize. He fits the bill, right? And he went out there and he got a chance to play. That's why playing time has always got to be top of the list when it comes to picking a school. You can talk about all the stuff. Again, academics matters. Don't get me wrong. That's a different conversation, though. Like, I want to talk about dudes that want to be ball players. When I come to your house and I recruit you, Don't think academics don't matter to me. But guess what I don't get paid to teach? Science. I don't get paid to teach math. I don't. You know what I'm saying? And they don't. And when you're taking a math test, it's also not on ESPN. So we have to keep it 100 about the relationship.
I like that. Go, Jimmy.
Yeah, I mean, and this is, we just joined the Chop Shop. College season on the men's side starts today, and there are a few games in progress. Ironically, 3 of the 4 games in progress right now involves a Greater Houston, a Texas-based team. And we mentioned the Baylor's halftime now, 53-32 over Central Arkansas. That's not the final score. That's at the break. Also going on at halftime right now, Lamar University, located in Beaumont, is up on Champion Christian 48-11.
What is Champion Christian?
Man, I don't know what. I've never heard of Champion Christian. I've never heard of it. And so we'll see and dig them up. And, of course, just underway in the first half. They're entering the first TV timeout right now. And Houston Baptist is up on Tulsa 7-5. That's in the early action. But there's a lot of games today. We'll keep you guys updated throughout the show. And Chris Walker was providing, and we all collectively will share our insights on some of the things that you guys can pick up and interpret as you're watching these games and as you're entering this season. Chris, in the blowout game, let's say this Lamar score. They just started the second half. It's 51-11.
Right? Who are they playing, by the way?
Champion Christian.
Is that the girls' team or the boys' team?
These are boys, man.
Okay, my bad.
Champion.
I didn't know. My bad.
Christian College, and this is basically a money game, and they open it up at home.
Why do guys play guys? Why do they do that?
You the coach. You tell us.
I mean, I would listen. I'm the guy that's like, yo, let's play the inner city rival. If we can't beat them, we can't say we're going to play for a national championship. Like, let's not be afraid. Like, you'll have teams that are in the same time. People don't understand how scheduling works. I remember when I was at Texas Tech, there was a team called Lubbock Christian. They're like, man, we can't play Lubbock Christian because if they beat us, it'll be. I'm like, hold on. If we can't beat Lubbock Christian, we can't beat Oklahoma State. What are we talking about here? Well, they may play good one night. I don't care. If we can't beat them, then we're not a Big 12 team. So, but I understand the bye games, but I've never even heard. Jimmy, remember back in the day, you should be able to put Hatter might have played on one of these teams. You know exactly where I'm going, Jimmy. You should be able to put a bunch of AAU dudes on a team and they give you a check. I know Hatter probably played for a couple of those teams with them tight socks and the long socks and them tight, the little the shorts. He had a little one ring on them, the little circle ring. Them old school shorts, the PE shorts.
We're in the same era, Chris. We're in the same era. I saw them little hot pants you had on.
I like my pants hot anyway. You already know that. But what I'm saying is, I don't understand why they play those games, man. What do you get out of beating the hell out of somebody?
Well, Chris, come on now. There's a lot of reasons that you guys play, and you're not teaching the audience and the viewers. You're not
asking, what do they get out of it?
Being a coach, here's my interpretation of this. Number one is you mix in a few of those games. That way you can have some corrective, and you can, against lesser talent, to ensure, first of all, to ensure the chances of you getting a win.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't count. It doesn't count.
It doesn't count toward the API. But at the same time, it doesn't help your API. But
your RPI.
I mean, RPI. I'm sorry, I said API. We talked so much about APR yesterday. But
right.
Here's what I'm saying. What it does is there are a lot of coaches. Let's say, for example, last week I mentioned you guys that there was a coach in town. Dennis Gates was in Houston. He's the head coach.
Oh, that's my man, DG. Yeah, new coach.
Yeah, so he was here this past weekend, right? And he used to be he was a long-time assistant coach, and he was the Ace Coon Boone, the right-hand man up under Leonard Hamilton at Florida State.
So Cal Grab, by the way, Hatter.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Cal Grab, Hatter.
He goes, understand something. He gets a head job at Cleveland State. Now, mind you, we informed you guys about a month or so, right there, Chris, that the approximate amount of African-American head coaches in men's basketball and excluding the HBCUs is only around between 13 to 15 in the country.
Nah, it's more than that.
I'm talking about in the Power Fives.
Oh, no, that might be true because it's about 90 power, it's 85 to 90 Power Fives. So you might be right about that.
In the Power Fives. And
Right.
so we was talking about that, myself and Coach Gates this weekend. And it was like, man, so what happens is when these guys get these jobs, everybody is rooting for them and applauding them when they're coming in the door. It's almost like you're a puppy. Everybody pets the puppy. But then at the moment that they realize that the puppy has teeth and can bite, nobody's trying to help you much. It seems like you have to go through the same door as the Power Fives. But then they act like they want to help you. So now I asked him, I said, well, did you, as far as the budget wise, did you get a game? Did Coach Ham give you a money game? He said, no, not yet. I'd use that when I need it. You know?
Yeah, they usually play. Like if they were opening up a new arena or something, they would play them.
No, but here's what he's trying to do, which is make it smart. He says what we're trying to do is we're trying to get a game, right, with one of the HBCU, I think Florida A&M.
Right.
So we're trying to get a game that's nearby, Tallahassee, Florida A&M.
Double
right?
up. Yeah.
And that way now while you're in town, on Florida State's dime,
You get a dub.
you get a free game with Florida A&M, and you come out of that 1-1 at the worst case scenario without a losing record.
Yeah, that's how you schedule.
So that's a smart way to schedule. Now, meanwhile, some of the schools, there are a lot of schools, Christian, you've been at schools and you tried to get games with schools in Houston. And what would be the reasons why a lot of those kids that go abroad and the schools aren't able to secure games with the home city team?
Where they came from?
Huh?
You mean they go away and they try to secure a game when they come back? You know, that used to be something that people did for years. Matter of fact, when I went to Villanova, we came back to Houston. They beat the snot out of us. My senior year, they had Craig Upchurch and Derek Daniels. I know Alvin Brooks Sr., he remembers that because he was a part of that staff. It was Pat Foster. And, man, I remember us running Suicides Forever when we got back to Villanova. But you know what? They try to do that now. But some of the teams, I'm going to be honest with you. If I'm a team, I might be giving some tea out here, that a kid spurned from my area and he wants to come back. The only way I would do it, if I was a lesser team and they gave me a 2-for-1, they gave me a chance. Because what happens is, like, let's say like TSU. If TSU was the only option, I'm just throwing this out there. Not Johnny Jones, a great coach, but no, UCLA is not going to come back to play TSU. If UTSA is the option, they won't come back to play UTSA, right? If a kid's from San Antonio, but they would play Texas in a neutral site in the area. That makes sense?
Wow.
They would play somebody in the area because if they lose on the road, you got to realize losing, every loss kills you. With the quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4, they would rather lose to Texas on the road than risk UTSA eating a spinach that day and come out like Popeye and making 23s and beating them. This is not like football. Basketball is very different than football. With that 3-point line out there, there's no 3-point line in football. Bigger, stronger, faster wins 99% of the times in football. In basketball, bigger, stronger, faster does not win. Upsets happen all the time. Don't nobody upset Alabama. Don't nobody upset Ohio State. That don't happen. In basketball,
Appalachian State upset Michigan ass.
Yeah, that was when they first got there, when he first got there, and that was a long time ago. And that might be the only one you could point out in the last 10 years. Like, it just don't happen. You got that hatterism. If it happened one time, you'll catch me on it. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, it doesn't happen in football. But in basketball, it happens all the damn time. Like, look at Loyola Chicago going to the Final Four. My boys on the staff, no disrespect to them, but give me a freaking break. Loyola Chicago is in the Final Four. It don't happen. Look at the games tonight. They kick off in New York tonight here in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
You got the Blue Bloods playing.
Yeah.
They don't have, again, I hate to mention certain schools, but they don't have Robert Hatter University playing. No. They don't have Jimmy Hicks State. They got them dudes out there. They got
They got Kansas, Duke, Kentucky versus Michigan State.
Them dudes.
They
got them dudes out there. And them high-level programs, and it would be the equivalent of them having in football Texas, Alabama, Clemson, and USC, Ohio State.
Yeah.
That's who's playing tonight. So they're not going to risk a kid. They're not going to risk going somewhere and losing to Ohio State is never playing at the University of Ohio. They're not doing that. If a kid comes from Missouri, they're not going to go and play Missouri State. They rather play Missouri and Kansas City. And if your parents just got to get there, it's close enough. Does that make sense? They just won't do that.
And you know what?
That's
Jimmy,
old. That's old. That's the way it used to be done. People don't do that anymore.
And Chris, I got an announcement, Jimmy. Jimmy, guess who's on the Facebook feed right now?
Who's that?
Nicole Hutchinson. Our very own the Chop Shop Nicole Hutchinson, former intern for the Chop Shop, proud of a Howard grad, a great interviewer. Guess where she is? She's in Louisiana. I don't know exactly what part of Louisiana. And Nicole, you can put it on the Facebook feed. She is a news anchor on a local TV station. We are so proud of her. I'd never forget she came to Chop Shop right before she had to go to her tennis lessons, and it's just unbelievable. I'm just so proud of her. And y'all said shout out to Nicole Hutchinson. Jimmy, if you want to say something.
Now that on the Boom Boom Room, we go to some of the questions that Chris, because you were providing dropping some great nuggets about the NCAA and interpreting different things, and we talked a couple of topics about that. And one of the questions, one of the viewers asked, what's the difference between number 25 and number 26?
Kyle Cole asked that.
Kyle Cole asked. I actually told him to explain it.
Yeah, and so now
read what he said. I just told him to explain it.
He said, in my opinion, there's possibly no difference between a 25 ranked player or a 26 tangibly. Could be just subjective. Most times, once you get past a certain ranking, it's minimal difference between until a noticeable drop of subjective basketball tangibles. And
I mean, what do you think about that, Jimmy? I mean, I'd like to hear you. Like when people say how to ask the question, what's the difference between a 5-star and a 4-star? And again, we're talking about the NBA, right? See, people don't understand baseball, football, and basketball. They are different sports, man. And Hatter got mad at me. One of his little friends on the Facebook feed get mad at me every day, and they say they hate me. And I'm like, Hatter, why are you letting these people hate me? I don't get it. And Hatter said, I'm a hater. I said, well, that's my name, Hatter. I'm a hater. He said, when I said I was going to have the 6'1" and under league, I'm not letting, if you 6'2", Marcus Sloan, you can't be in this league. I'm sorry. You can't do it. I'm not letting you play. John Uri, give me all the ball beaters you got. So what I'm saying is,
Chris, she didn't say she hates you. She said you're mean.
Oh, I mean. Oh, I'm sorry.
You're
because
mean.
Because I'm truthful.
Yes.
Because I tell the truth.
Yes.
So we got to be careful. I don't want to, put a battery in the back of all these little 6'1" dudes and have them out there thinking they're gonna make it to the league. But guys, when you're saying 25th best player in the country, mm-hmm. people don't understand how many kids are playing out there. Mm. For instance, yesterday, Michael Peavy, right? Our boy Peavy, Dave Peavy's son, 35th in the country. We have seen this kid grow up, Jimmy, right?
Yeah.
Man, we've seen this kid from a little poop butt to what he is now. That's prideful for us. We got to make sure you represent him. But that should be prideful for us that this dude, we saw from the rooter to the tutor, and he's top 35. You know what that means? Right. He got a chance to look at it. So if you had a kid, I'm going to pose this question to the Boom Boom Room, and I want you guys to answer it here. If you had a kid that was top 35 and you're making a college decision, and we got to get back and talk about them Cowboys in a minute, making a college decision, I'm going to tell you what I think, and you guys can tell me what you think. You have to make a decision thinking about the NBA. You have to make a decision saying, look, man, if they paying these dudes $40 million a year, and my son is top 35, now people got to understand the draft resets every year, and think about it, Hatter. They only probably 80% of the time draft the older dudes. 80% of the time they draft the young dudes, which means they're willing to take a chance on youth. And your son is top 35. Why would you not pick a school where you play all the minutes and give yourself the best chance to look at it? That's what I would do. I would not put myself in a situation where I got to battle dudes for minutes. I got to do what Keith Frazier had to do at SMU with Larry Brown, where you going where a dude thinks he knows more than anybody ever breathed basketball and is going to show you. I'm going to go where I got every advantage to shoot that thing every single time so I can take a look at it. What do you think, Jimmy?
I mean, first, and start from the backside is in regard to the difference between a number 25 and number 26 kid. I always said that, and I'll explain this to you guys. I'll try to simplify this fraction. It's the range, not the rank so much. Meaning if you're in a certain range, if you go to a concert, right, and there's a concert in town, and you're going, tickets are being released, what's the most premium ticket that people look for that's not a VIP that has a seat number on it? It's going to be first row, front row. So I haven't seen nobody ask me ever, which seat were you in on the front row? You on the front row. I've seen nobody ask me how many seats were on the front row. You on the front row, that means you in a certain range. If you on, now let's back up a little bit. When you go to a concert and your tickets are on the floor, if you on the floor, you know what you're gonna tell all your people? Man, I'm going to the concert. Where you going? Man, where you sitting at? Man, we on the floor. What you talking about? You see? And then somebody maybe ask you where about, but they don't. Either you're on the floor or you're sitting right by the stage. You got a good view, or you don't tell nobody at all. So it's different ranges. I mean that in basketball you have top 10, and in a local level I would say top 5. If you're in top 5, normally in a metropolitan area, such as a Dallas, DFW, such as a Houston and a Chicago, LA, Philly, whatever. So you're in the top 5. Normally you're expected, it's just assumed that you are a high Division I prospect because those cities churn out so much talent, and that's normal. It's not going to always be the case, but that's normal. If you're in the top 10, that means at one point in time, you're in that stage, you have a chance to be on the front cover of the magazine.
Right.
If you're in the top 20, then you possibly a Division I prospect, and the only thing that's hindering you is probably your grades. So a lot of kids you see, and you may be wondering why they aren't signed or committed yet. Signing date is next Wednesday. But you wonder why certain kids aren't committed yet that many people may deem to be really talented, and it doesn't make sense. Then guess what? Academics, some schools are just waiting because there are other kids that are compatible that may be qualified out there. Why are they going to wait on you when there's a kid just like you in another state?
But Jimmy, there's no waiting anymore. Like, people got to understand, when I was at Villanova recruiting, we didn't even have official visits. We had kids come to us as juniors. Our recruiting class would be done a year before. There is no, when you're not committed, there's first of all, coaches are very, very aggressive. You know what they want to do before the season starts? They want to get the recruiting done. They don't want to work on recruiting, right? Current classes while the season is going on, because they want to spend time with their own players, because they have scouts to do. So let me take you through a life of a college coach. Games are starting right now, and we don't have kids signed. I got a scout I got to stay up all night for. Then we got recruiting calls. Then you worried about, the other schools that are recruiting them. Who's he taking a visit to? A lot of these kids have already taken visits, right, by the time November comes, and they know where they're going to go to school when it gets to this point. But if you're not committed by now, most times you're probably going to be a late period guy if the colleges have their druthers, because the kids, unless they're high level dudes, they're probably already committed. And I haven't followed it as much this year, but they're probably already committed. And a lot of them don't wait till signing day to sign. That is old news. They just don't do that anymore, Hatter.
And so that's pretty much, hope we answered a lot of you guys' questions on the aspect of interpreting those rankings and stuff. And so you got any more, you're welcome to send us an email.
But what about them Cowboys though? We're not gonna talk about them Cowboys?
You want?
But what about them Cowboys though? What about them Cowboys?
Hey, Jimmy, hold up. I got something.
I'm
Jimmy.
disgusted with Robert Hatter.
Jimmy.
Disgusted.
He talking about those Cowboys right there, Jimmy.
Disgusted.
That's about to pop on the screen right now, Jimmy. Are those the Cowboys he talking about?
Which ones?
The ones I'm about to pop on. That's about to pop on the screen. You know it's a 10-second delay. Are those the Cowboys you talking about?
The ones that put 37 up last night on the Giants on the road.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure it out.
I'm just saying. I'm looking at my Facebook feed. I'm waiting. Wow, that's wrong.
Are those the
that
Cowboys?
Is wrong, boy.
Chris, back there in the back.
Wow, that's wrong. That's not right, man.
I'm not. I just want to know.
Get him, Freightman. Tell Kevin Freightman to get him. That's disrespectful.
Well, those are guys you were talking about. I'm just asking
wow.
for a friend.
I can't believe. You know what's funny? I mean, you guys need to stop, man. Everybody hates the Cowboys.
No.
Hey, did you see the black cat on the field last night? The Giants should have known when the black cat came on the field, it was over.
But Jimmy, you know what though? I don't dislike the Cowboys, and that's what. And I learned I don't dislike the Cowboys.
Tell him,
Angie.
Dislike Tell him, Angie.
No, just like the fans. I'm like Stephen A. Smith. I don't like y'all. I love Jerry Jones. I love the stadium. I love Dallas. I love that hotel right across from the stadium. I love the little back room, the little private rooms you can go back in. I love everything.
Boy, you something else.
Yeah, I love everything about Dallas, the Cowboys. But y'all, I got guys redecorating their whole house, their whole man cave, man.
It's that time of year. Put your heart and your car in the hands of the man that wears the star. Come on, man.
The shower curtains, Jimmy. The shower curtains in the man cave. He got a restroom in the man cave. He got Dallas Cowboys soap. You wash your stanky behind with Dallas Cowboys soap.
And he want to make sure he clean with the most profitable franchise in the world. Listen, the Patriots can be America's team all they want. We the world's team. They can. We didn't surpass that, Jimmy. The Patriots, you can have the America's team tag. We're done with that. We're going global on you.
Hey, Jimmy, they great at every position. They got some dudes, Jimmy. Dallas got some dudes. I went and looked at the thing. They got some dudes at every position. But they still managed to let the New York Jets. But what I found out.
Come on, man.
Okay. It was a fluke. Okay. All right. Yes, sir.
Can we talk about your Rockets? Or Jimmy, are we talking about James Harden? Go ahead on, Jimmy. Do your thing.
In a NFL talk, you mentioned the Cowboys and wanted to give you guys an update that Cam Newton has been placed on injured reserve, and for the Carolina Panthers. That means he's done. He's out for the rest of the season. Carolina Panthers are 5-3,
right
in the wild card, in the middle of the wild card hunt. This is the midway point. They've only played 8 games, guys, of the 16. But could this be the beginning of the end for Cam Newton in Carolina?
I mean, it happens. Joe Montana left. Steve Young left. Hey, Jimmy, in football, these kind of things happen. Tom Brady might not be there next year, Jimmy. Y'all, it's not an indictment on Cam Newton. Guess what? Cam Newton got injured, and somebody else let me tell you something. Somebody else wants some of them wins. You can believe that. Guess what? And sometimes I found out in football, sometimes you just wear out your welcome. Sometimes it's just time to go. Like Jason Garrett. I'm sorry. Sometimes it's just time to go. That's all. It ain't no big thing. But Chris, if you want to comment.
Listen, man, I'm not a Jason Garrett fan.
No, I'm talking about Cam Newton. Jimmy's talking about.
Oh, no. Ty Bridges is done.
He's done?
Ty Bridges is done. There's no chance. He's not coming back.
As long as he have a job, I'm all right.
He's going to have a job.
That's
He's a
all.
2015 MVP. He's going to have a job. But he hadn't thrown a touchdown since you were celibate.
He
When was
been
that?
hurt.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like
He
he
been
ain't
hurt. I sell a bit and buy a bit.
He ain't thrown a touchdown, and God knows when, man. Sometimes it's just past you, man. Hey, listen, Michael Vick had to leave Atlanta at some point. Man, let me tell you something, man. Jimmy, on football, I saw this thing on Michael Vick because they were talking about Lamar Jackson. Man, people forget how good Michael Vick was, man.
No, they don't.
Oh my
was the
goodness,
first-
Michael Vick was a monster.
He was the first $100
I
million
didn't
man.
realize it.
Hey,
Huh?
he's the first $100 million man. Ain't nobody forgot that. He just
I mean, I just you forget, like, even when you watch old boxing stuff on Facebook feeds about Mike Tyson, the knockouts, we forget how this dude used to knock people out.
people used to be scared to come in.
That's
the
what I'm
ring.
saying. Like knock people out.
Yeah.
Like literally knock people out. Like grown men walking in scared like little children when this dude walk in the ring.
I want to bring something to the point. I just noticed something. They give an update. We promised to give you guys updates on a lot of the collegiate games. There's about 4 of them in progress right now. And this Lamar game, right? First, Baylor is up 74-48 on Central Arkansas. Middle Tennessee 92-52 over Maryville, Tennessee. Houston Baptist is still leading, clinging to a 4-point lead, 30-26 over Tulsa, with about 5 minutes to go in the half.
Houston,
And-
who? Hold up. Houston.
Houston Baptist is at Tulsa. Frank
My young
Haight,
fella.
Frank Haight better go and get a. I don't know who gave that scout to. HBU is always, remember now, this same HBU team, didn't they pull off a great upset a year ago, last season? I can't remember who they beat. You guys can help me in the boomer room, but they upset somebody last year. And so this was a scary matchup. Now Lamar is up now 69-26 over this champion Christian team, who Big Doug Jones is watching. He's actually at the game right now down in Beaumont, and he told us that this school is out of Arkansas, independent school. Now in this game,
Jimmy, he's not Big Doug no more. He look Doug now.
he looked Douglas. And so now that was a kid that's 5'10", 150 pounds. He's a sophomore guard in the starting lineup for Lamar. He's a sophomore, right? 150 pounds. He's out of Austin, Texas. And the little kid, Davion Buster is his name. This young man, look at the stat line right now. Now, I understand who you're playing, but guess what? That all factors in. He has 23 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, 4 steals, and he's 7 for 13 from three-point land. Remember, he's a sophomore guard. This is some of the things I was saying about recruiting. So if you're a guard, right, it's not meant to scare anybody away, just interpreting. You follow this guy's progress. He played a little bit last year as a freshman. He has 23 now, and they still have 8 minutes to go. So he's probably not going to play
I couldn't hear you, Jim. What school was this?
at Lamar University in Beaumont.
Lamar. Okay.
And so my point is this. Certain guys that are performing, you follow them if that's your position. Then if you think you're going into Lamar University next year, if you're a senior right now, and you're gonna play, that's one spot that's there. He's not going anywhere for 2 years. I'm just saying, look at things like that. Look at the bench. And that's why I asked you, Chris, a while ago. Certain games like this, it can be very misleading. I've seen it happen. I watched box scores really closely. Here's what I say about misleading. Because in this game, a lot of kids that aren't normally part of the rotation will play today, right?
Yeah, because they're going to blow them out, yes.
And so somebody's going to score that's normally not going to play anymore unless there's another 40-point blowout. And then what happens is those parents or those could go and believe that because my son played against this independent school, Champions Christian, that he should be in that lineup next game. if they going and playing UT. So or Baylor.
Well, Jimmy, why is that any different than summer basketball and high school? Why is that any different? There's money games in high school too. Don't get it twisted, right or wrong. There's money games in high school.
Give us an example of a money game in high school.
Well, you give me an example because I don't want to make something. You don't want to Houston. I don't want nobody to get mad at me. I mean, when the Yates as a powerhouse plays who? It's a money game. When Yates used to play Austin back in the day when I was playing, that was a money game. They's gonna beat the brakes off them by about 100.
Yeah, but high school.
It's a money game though. So think about the kid at Austin. If the kid play good that game, the parent gonna think like, well, see, he should be starting. No, not really. Like they playing the sorriest team in the world. Like that wouldn't happen if they played against Chris Walker and Milby. Like, you know what I mean? Like the parents do this. What you making that face for, Hatter? But you know what I'm saying, Jimmy? There's money games even in high school. There's money games in AAU, Jimmy. Back in the day, before they had super pools, there was money games, right or wrong. When you did your pools, you would put me in a pool, or Keith White or some of those high level teams, the hoops, and you'd have 3 games they would play, guaranteed games, or 2 guaranteed games, however you had it. But they wouldn't be against playing me. We wouldn't play each other. Super pools were created later on. Remember, it wasn't like that before. So you had quote unquote money games.
So that's more, I guess, the definition of the context in which you're using money game would be more so a guaranteed game. Not
correct.
The people.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, right.
That would be more suitable term, the guaranteed game, meaning that again you put people in a pool together, or you pair somebody up with a team that you're already assuming that they're going to win and advance and go on. Now, in this situation, we're talking about minutes because that's the most important stat.
Most important stat, minutes played, baby.
MPG. And let's not get this stuff twisted. And I want you guys, as we go through the season, this is all I'm seeing. If I feel really compelled to do this, and what I'm about to say, and that is, if I don't say it now, then you guys will feel like it's hate. Pay attention to the guys that are on these Division I teams from your cities that are freshmen. Pay attention to their MPG. Because unless you know any of those young men or young women who actually accepted the possibility that they were still going to sign and take a red shirt, which I don't know any from this class of 2019. You follow me? Everybody's going there thinking they're going to play a lot.
But Jimmy, go back to 2018. Go back to that class and tell people how many people transferred, Hatter. Oh my goodness. It was like, it was the most ridiculous thing in the world. You would think every college coach was selling lemons out there because every kid, I'm talking about statewide, not just in Houston, but statewide, all changed their area codes. I mean, it was like, I'm like, dude, every dude left? Kendrick Davis. I mean, was Kendrick 18? Kendrick was 18. Kendrick 17. He was 18? Yeah. The other kid that went to TCU with him, Jadon Ladee, he was 18, wasn't he? I mean, you can go on and on. There's a lot. I mean, you know more than me, Jimmy, but it was a ton of guys. Caden Archie left and went to UTEP. It was a ton of dudes that said, man, Quentin Grimes was 2018, right? Oh, no. Yes, he was 2018.
Grimes 18. Yeah.
18. I mean, it was a lot of guys left, Hatter.
I got them right here.
Yeah, I like to hear that.
You never asked. I'm just going to take you down some of the transfers from the Division I transfers. From the from just Greater Houston, right? Alex Holcomb, right? Amir Smith, Ajari Sonny.
That's right. That's my kid from Milby. That's Jarvis' son from Milby High School. Yes. I forget where he went. He went to Clear Lake High, didn't he, Jimmy?
He went to Clear Lake High and he transferred from.
Let me bring some light to that. And this is Hatter. This is a hit home with Hatter. Johnny's father, Jarvis, and is it Jarvis? What's his name? What's his dad's name?
It was Jarvis Kelly back in the days. Jarvis Sonny.
And Jarvis Sonny and Mighty Mike, I call him Mighty Mouse back in the day.
Stoudemire.
played together at Arizona. Let me tell you how crazy this stuff is. People got to understand what's going on. They were teammates. He sent his kid to his teammate, and he still left. Dude, y'all got to understand, these people on crack out there, man. He sent, let me repeat it. They sent his dude to his boy, dude.
And he played all the minutes.
And still left, Hatter. Come on, man.
And Jimmy, and played all the minutes.
Yeah, he had 7 threes in like his first, and it's like his first start or something like that. I mean, he played a lot. The thing is, I mean, and one of the things, relationships, and Damon Stoudemire threw him a bone, and because remember, the kid really never had a fair shot to get recruited by anybody else because the word had leaked out. That's where he was going to go, and it was a done deal. So in college coaches, you guys know, Chris, you guys get the word out on different people. Why would you waste your time recruiting him heavily? Because he's going to go with Damon Stoudemire, and sure enough, that's what happened. And so he really didn't get. That's why you look at a lot of times when situations we know is kind of done from afar. At least you let the kid go and get a taste of another. Just let him go through the motions. That way he can't come back and act like, well, damn, I messed up. I deprived myself of it. And we were talking about some of the D1 transfers from the class of 2018 that went out. We haven't got to the 19s are just freshmen now, just starting their college careers today for the most part. But those 18s that would be on new campuses. And I mentioned Ajari Sonny. I mentioned DJ Peavy. We mentioned Micah Peavy earlier today. His brother, DJ Peavy. He left Mercer.
That's right.
Bob Hoffman got, lost a job, and so that job came open. And so Lil Peavy, he went on, he's in a JUCO in Texas right now. And guess what? If he does well at JUCO, guess what could possibly happen? He could possibly join his brother at Texas Tech. That's the end game. That's the goal. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to happen, but there's a possibility because a kid like that is low maintenance. Now, another freshman, Jayla D, he went to Ohio State. Now he's at TCU. Jacoby Deal was at UTEP, kid out of Beaumont Central, and then went there to take a walk-on spot, mind you, a preferred walk-on spot, under the impression that you were going to actually play. And that's the thing, that's a whole nother topic we'll revisit this topic about black kids and walk-ons later on. Another freshman, Jock Hughes, went to SFA. Now he's at Prairie View. Jock Hughes from out of Yates High School. He was a freshman last year, left. How about Jules Moore? He was a freshman at Stony Brook. Now he transferred. And
Jimmy, why all these dudes leaving, man? I've been a college coach for a long time, Hatter, and kids leave for all types of reasons. I remember having a kid in my office. I said, man, you can put your name in that portal if you want. Go, and you're gonna find out what your value is. Go put your name in that portal if you want to. Let your parents sit up and make you think you're a dude, and put your name in that portal. And you're gonna find out. Guess what? No more private plane, no more nice gear, no more ESPN. Go ahead on. Because playing at this level comes with a price, son. And guess what? The other 13 dudes, the other 12 dudes, they want to be there too. So this is not AAU. See, people can't shake the AAU world. They can't shake it. They think it's the same. It is not the same. Same way when they get to the league. Hatter, please explain to people. The dudes sitting on the bench in the league, they can be making millions. They still want to do what, Hatter? Play. Yes. People don't understand that, man.
Yeah, and I mean it's Chris. I mean you're right there with him. Expectations, and you understand you have to a fault as a college coach. I mean, is it the fact that these kids and these families want to be lied to so much that you just don't have no trust to say, well, you know what? If you can't take, I'm just gonna lie to you. If you don't want the truth, I'm gonna lie to you. Is it that with college coaches or what? Because so many people think they're playing.
No. I don't think they want to be lied to. It's that, and it's their baby. Like they can't imagine somebody not doing something right by their baby. And I don't want that. What I try to tell them is there's 12 other mamas with a baby too, and only 8 of y'all can play. Somebody got to wait their turn. So if I tell you the truth, you're going to go to the other school that's lying to you when they got a roster full of dudes, four dudes at your position, but because they got a nicer practice gym, you go there. You're going to leave there when you don't play. The only thing that makes these dudes happy is playing. And then they'll pull a Cam Newton's brother on you. They'll go there, they'll play all the minutes, you'll help develop them, you'll help them make them the player they are, and then they'll be like, I'm too good for y'all.
Jim, no,
Come
Chris,
on, man.
Chris, that wasn't it. That wasn't
Okay, my bad.
No, that wasn't the case. Cam Newton, you remember his brother Kalen Newton? They had a promising year the first year, 7-4, and he thought that next year would be a lot better. And 4 games in, it wasn't any better. They got stomped by Maryland, and a lot of things happened. And then I heard, I can't substantiate these allegations, but the college coach was a little bit demeaning to a lot of players, because not only Kalen left, it's 3 other top-tier guys that are ranked guys that left that program. And maybe some, I found out too, Chris, maybe some coaches that have been the PWIs with those big budgets like yourself, and y'all have these big budgets, when y'all go to one of these HBCUs where you don't have those big budgets, you can't treat these kids the same way to me. You help me out. You can't treat, when you got them multi-million-dollar budgets at your PWI, and you come down trying to say and have that same attitude at an HBCU who don't have these facilities, who don't have them frills, who don't have those extras, you got to coach them guys a little bit, manage those guys a little bit different. I mean, I thought about that, Chris, because that's what I'm finding out, because the guy, I forgot his name, who coached Howard. He's been in an NFL, Jimmy, and he's been with a predominantly white institution. So he got credentials, but you can't come down to Howard talking that crazy stuff. Howard don't have the facilities. Howard don't have everything that those guys have. What do you think about that, Chris?
I agree. I mean, it's just, listen, man, it's a tough situation when I'm dealing with some situations now with a kid trying to get a waiver. Okay. And here's the hypocrisy of the NCAA. And it bothers me. That's why I want them to pay them, and I'll be the first one. That's why they even put me on the Tamron Hall show. I said, look, man, I'm not getting on the Tamron Hall show telling y'all they shouldn't pay players. I'll get on. Know what, Tamron?
Tell them the real reason.
I'll have the Chris Walker show before your Tamron Hall show make it. I'm not getting up here, and losing my integrity and saying something I don't want to believe in. I mean, I don't believe in. They should be paid. My point is, when you're dealing with these universities, as I say, I was dealing with a waiver hatter.
Right.
When a university wants something, they will slander your name to no end. But you know what? When they want something, they will prop your name up to no end too. The bottom line is, Hatter, today is election day. The question is, hey, who in the Boomer Room, who voted today? And then, Hatter, when it comes to these universities, what's our favorite saying about politics? There's no permanent what? And there you have it right there.
There's no permanent friends. There's no permanent enemies. It's only permanent interests.
It's only, so if I work for Cal one day, guess what I got permanent interest in? Cal. If all of a sudden, Jimmy, I got a different polo on, I'm at Michigan, guess what my interest is? Not in Cal anymore. It's in Michigan. Hey, Jimmy, and that's how that business works.
And Jimmy and Chris, I see that in politics, just watching how these news anchors will leave from Fox and be totally one way, and
that's
go
right.
NBC or CNN and be a whole nother way. And they tell me, man, it's about the money. It's about the ratings. It ain't got, and we sit up here and believe this mess about them people working. They on Fox saying one thing, and if Fox fire them, they on another station saying a whole nother thing. And guess what? No permanent friends, no permanent enemies, just permanent money. That's what they saying.
No doubt.
And of course, I'm taking guys some of the comments on the Boom Boom Room, and this is hilarious. And shout out to our girl Darshell Clark up in Oklahoma.
Hey,
she's the mother of Stevie Clark, who's overseas, and I know in his first game in the game the other day. He poured in like over 30 points in a basketball game. I mean, it's a great thing and a great journey for Stevie Clark. Now, Darshell going to keep us posted on his progress. And right now, some of the updates on the college games that are going on right now in progress. As promised, Baylor's increased their lead 91-54 with about 5 minutes to go over Central Arkansas. Lamar is up 46 points, 86-40 over Champions Christian. And that game's in the closing seconds, about 20 seconds to go. And Tulsa has taken the lead over Houston Baptist, 41-38, that is, at the break. So we'll keep you guys posted to those up there. A lot of games going on this evening. Of course, University of Texas open their season, and want to give a shout out to Andrew Jones, who is expected to play tonight. He will not be in the starting lineup for the Longhorns, but he is expected to play significant, I guess manageable minutes. That's probably the way you could describe it after he's gotten a full release from the doctor and whatnot. So Andrew Jones, this UT lineup, I know all eyes will be looking to see who's going to play, who's not going to play when it comes to a lot of the freshmen and sophomores around the country. And it's rightfully so. So, and I'm looking at, and what you got, Hatter?
And I'd like to say, since you mentioned all them schools, I got to tell you, my alma mater plays tonight. First game tonight against South Carolina State. It'll be the first game of the year for James Wiseman, the number one player in the country. This is his first time playing is tonight because he's been a little injured the first couple of games. So he will play tonight, and I'm excited about watching that game tonight.
And, of course, in HBCUs are in action as well. This is the day. I mean, this is the season opener for collegiate men's basketball, and Texas Southern will be at San Diego State, and Alcorn is at DePaul. Jackson State is at California Baptist. Jarvis Christian is at Prairie View tonight, right? Alabama A&M is at Tennessee State. That game will be on ESPN Plus tonight. Arkansas Pine Bluff is at South Florida. That's on ESPN3, 7 p.m. tip-off Central Time. Mississippi Valley is at Iowa State. And, of course, Alabama State is at Gonzaga, and that's a 7 p.m. tip. That's your HBCU roundup in collegiate basketball tonight. Once again, as Hatter has just showed you guys, that's the Memphis in the media guide. They're scheduling it and with their theme for this season, all that smoke.
All the smoke, not all that.
Oh, all the smoke.
Okay.
Okay.
We want all the smoke.
You're gonna get it when you come to H-Town. Quentin Grimes and Fabian White and the rest of the crew, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it now. Chris, didn't you just say in basketball, bigger, faster, taller doesn't always win in basketball?
No, I didn't say that.
Not at all.
But better does. Does better? Chris, does better win?
No, I mean, better wins most times, but in basketball, I would say in college football, it's 95-5. In college basketball, and college football is 95-5. The 95, the best, bigger, stronger team going to win. Bigger, stronger, faster. And college basketball, I would say it's 70-30.
Okay. So we got a chance. All right.
Yeah. And so, and of course, Favre just reminded TSU is on the road until Christmas. And
Jim, it's a crying shame. Hold up. Favre have to tell you about your own team. Man, what is wrong with you, man?
I don't follow them unless they win it. Y'all know that. Bottom line. That's why they appreciate me so much.
They don't appreciate you.
Johnny Jones do. He came to my party.
Hey, you want to be on the right side of politics.
Hey, hold on. Do we have that video of Jimmy dancing?
No, they didn't. Nobody sent me the video. If somebody sent me that video.
There's no video.
If somebody sent me a video of it, because I was at the party, I wasn't videoing nothing, because guess what? If you wasn't invited, you shouldn't have been there. You can't see. But Jimmy,
that's not normal. That's not totally true, though. I'm looking on November the 30th, TSU would play at home against Lamar University. I didn't want to think that was figuratively speaking.
No, Favre just running his mouth.
Yeah, so the guys not, but they do have an enormous amount, a regular amount of of money games, you call it, and as they go on the road and get paid. Remember now, Mike Davis kept all of his revenues from his basketball money games when he was the coach went directly to men's basketball. And
so since Johnny came to your party, did he tell you how much he keep?
I didn't ask him that. That's what I'm saying. I'm letting you know. I said,
but
well,
you asked Mike Davis.
Well, yeah, Mike Davis had no problem sharing that because that was rare. That was the point he was saying. And I've checked around a lot of schools. Man, that stuff get to go to the general athletic fund, and it's dispersed among all programs. And that's so those are the programs that you see like with a hand behind their back. It's like go out there and get this money for the golf team. You're gonna take a lump upside the head, and you still can't get nothing new. Still can't live different. Still gotta stay in a 4-star.
Hey, do we have time for a commercial?
Yes, we do.
Okay, watch one.
Mark your calendars for Saturday, November the 16th at the M.O. Campbell Center located in Houston, Texas. That's the RCS Sports season opener. A day filled of high school boys basketball starting at 9:30 a.m. when Aldine Nimitz takes on Houston Christian, followed by Aldine Davis versus Sam Houston. Langham Creek will take on Summer Creek. Westbury Christian versus Port Arthur Memorial. How about Dickinson versus Beaumont United? That's a rematch of the Super 16 Extravaganza Championship game. Martin Ranch will take on Jack Yates at 5 p.m., followed by Hightower versus Cypress Creek. And the finale, Shadow Creek versus Episcopal at 8 p.m. That's the RCS Sports season opener, powered by Boost Mobile. A limited amount of $5 tickets are on sale now at all participating schools. That's the season opener on Saturday, November the 16th.
We're playing basketball. We're loving basketball. We're playing basketball. We're loving basketball.
How y'all like that?
Yeah, man, that's great. Of course, that's great. That's season open. That's definitely going to be November the 16th. That's a week and a half away. That's the start of the Greater Houston area high school boys basketball season.
Jimmy, I got a question to ask you. Somebody texted me last night because I want to make a public service announcement. Somebody texted me last night. Somebody told me the game sold out. I said, I have nothing to do with this game. That is Jimmy's event. That's not a Robert Hatters production. They calling me, getting mad at me about your stuff. So y'all listen to me. That is a RCS Sports event, not Robert Hatters event. Please, y'all, don't call texting me mad because you couldn't get the $5 tickets. And the man that told you, if you watched the Chop Shop enough, you would have known. Like Melvin Dews, he sent a message to me and Jimmy. And Jimmy, and I got a question I want to I think to you and Chris. Melvin Dews, did you in our email box last night? We had a mail. And I'm going to give him his due, Melvin Dews. He said something, Chris, because we had a guy on the show the other day, a Division III coach, right? And he was just talking about, I'm trying to find it. Oh, I'll just go to the email and find it, and I'll tell you exactly what they said. Well, it was real unique. And Jimmy, did you see it, or did you didn't read? Oh, here it is. He said, this Melvin Dews, I was rewatching the old episode when you guys, by the way, thank you, Melvin Dews, for going back and rewatching our shows. We had the Division III coach on the show, and he spoke about the 3 great options in Division III. He said, my question is, how can a player even use this option if their parents are blessed enough financially that they can't receive any of these aids or grants? If those parents have to pay for college, I'm sure they would rather pay for a D1 school than the other options that D2 and D3 schools get paid for.
Slow that down, Hatter. Say that again.
Okay.
Say that last part again.
Okay. He said, the last part. He said, if those parents have to pay for college anyway, I'm talking about the parents that financially are able, okay?
Okay.
That won't be able to get these grants, right?
Okay.
If they have that much money, I mean, if they have enough money to pay for college, he said he's sure they would rather go pay at a D1.
Okay.
For
So
my
let me
son.
tell you what. So let me tell you what the problem what he's missing.
Okay.
Are they gonna play? See, when he goes to the D2, that's what they missing.
That's why Jimmy
When they-
was sniggling. That's why
Yeah,
Jimmy
because
was
they're not playing. They're not paying to go to a Division One. You paying for playing. You pay to play. So if you want to get some playing time, that's why you paying. Because if you go to Division One school and you pay, you're not playing. You're a walk on. Do you understand that?
All
That
right.
doesn't exist. And I'm glad Melvin asked that question because, again, some parent probably running around thinking that, well, if I'm going to pay, I might as well pay to go to Texas and do what? Play intramurals? Why don't you go play?
Hey, Jimmy.
What Chris? I want you hit the nail right on the head. So no
That's
need
insane to me, man.
no need for me to pile on that
Okay.
topic. But I wanted to take out the time to ask you to elaborate on something. And because on the Chop Shop, we're going to give you guys pieces of the game that you will not get anywhere else, especially not for free. And that is, Chris, as a college coach, can you give us an example? Because I know a lot of times there are kids that have interest in going to Division I schools because their moms and dad as a walk-on or a potential walk-on. And we've talked about the walk-on topic, and we talked about it yesterday, and we promised to continue it today. And this is a very serious topic because this is the topic that most people, many people think that they can control. Parents, that is, think you can control the walk-on process. And in reality, it's playing blind. It's like a blind date. It's blind craps. So, Chris, I want to ask you, how does the game go for as a college coach when a kid is coming to you as intending on being a possible walk-on? I don't think many college coaches are going to turn their kid down and say, man, don't waste your time coming and paying money, and you want to bring your thousands into our coffers. So coaches don't turn those kids down.
Well, they don't, Jimmy. But you got to think about it this way. There's only so many kids that can be on the team.
So how do you say it? There we go, bingo. So how do you?
There's only it's not like Princeton where there's 30 players on the team. It's not like the Ivy League where there's 100 dudes and they got a JV. When you're talking about Division I basketball, I think the most people will have is 15 guys. Because you don't have 20 lockers in the locker room.
Wait a minute, what you say, Chris? Ivy League
In
don't have a
college.
JV?
What's it again? Some of
Ivy
those
League.
dudes have JV. Some of them teams have little teams they have.
No.
They'll have little teams. They have those teams
Not
they can
in
play
the
on.
Ivy League, not in the Ancient Eight. It might be some of them other teams. It ain't but 8 Ivy League schools, Chris.
No, I understand that. I
And you
understand that.
said some of them
What-
do. It ain't but 8 of them.
I get you. What I'm saying is they'll have 20 guys.
They
They'll
don't
these
have a
little-
JV
little-
team. I'm just
Just listen to me.
explaining. 'cause you
I'm
just
calling.
don't-
I'm calling. Just listen to me. I'm
Okay.
calling it a JV, but it's really like club basketball.
They don't
So they'll
have one of
some-
them either.
Listen to me, man. Listen. Just hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. I know your son went to Ivy League,
No,
but some
that's
of my
bad
boys.
dope. That's bad dope you give me. That's all I'm telling
I'm trying to tell you something. What I'm saying is some of these guys are playing intramurals and they're actually on the team playing too as walk-ons. But they're intramurals. They're playing in something else and they're making people think they're on the team. And they just could be they could be. Think about it. What's the scholarship rule in the Ivy League, Hatter? They don't have one.
That's right.
They don't have one. They have one at Cal. They have one at Texas. They don't have one in the Ivy League. Them dudes can have as many dudes on the team as they want.
But
It's a different animal. I get what you say. It's no JV. I call it JV. Like they let them dudes play in club. They let them dudes do all the other stuff, but they're not really on the team. And they making people think they're on the team, and they're not. They're not on the team.
They got a
when it
drill?
comes. They're not on the team though, man. I'm telling you, they're not on the team. How many people get to sit on the bench? How about that? Sometimes they rotate that. How about this? Sometimes they tell a dude, look, man, you can be on the team, but you can't travel. You can't travel, but you can be on the team. You're like, what do you mean? I'm on the team or I'm not on the team? But you can't travel. You can only, you know what? You can travel this game. You can't travel that game. Or, you know what? You can only sit on the bench during home games. Like people aren't being honest about what's out there. And then some of these kids that are playing Division II and all this, I love these parents. Again, I'm not mad at them. I think a kid going to school is a great thing no matter what. That should be the number one thing that's celebrated. A kid is going to higher education. He's furthering his academic prowess. That should be the number one thing. But when parents try to switch it up and make it look like that was the intent the entire time was to go to play Division III, but that was the intent the entire time to play NAIA, that was not the intent. That's what you had to do. And don't be ashamed of that, because that's probably where you should be, you know? And so all I'm saying is, if I was a parent and my kid wasn't going to play at a high major school, if I had my own child, forget it. I mean, I might put all the money in, I might put all the training in, put him with the right teams. Everybody that playing the EYBL ain't playing Division I. I'm just telling y'all right now, don't believe that. Everybody that play on that sneaker circuit ain't playing Division I. And what people don't understand is you got to, as a parent, sit back and say, shoot, man, I tried it this way. That didn't work. He got good grades. I'm going to do what Robert Hatter did. Not that Robert Hatter's son couldn't play. It was just a smart move, because Robert Hatter's son is balling in New York. It's a smart move. It ain't no shame in it. Guess what you did? At some point, guess what? Your basketball career has a shelf life. It's got a shelf life. It's going to stop. For some people, it stopped 10 years in the league. For some people, it stopped being a Alabama recruit, being an Alabama and not playing in the NFL. And for some people, it stopped the minute your high school career is over. And what I'm saying is, when you start seeing it going sideways, guess what you need to do? Stop paying that trainer and start paying that tutor. I'm going to say it again. When it sees going sideways and the coaches ain't calling, stop paying the trainer. Wow. Start paying the tutor. Stop buying the KDs, right? And start buying, what's that? Buy them a Kindle. No more KDs, buy them a Kindle. Stop paying the trainer, start paying the tutor. Because as Hatter educated you guys on, there is there's billions of dollars given out in academic aid. Now, to speak to the other thing about the academic aid, when they're saying, well, if I have money, if your kids have good grades, they will give you free school. You don't have to pay for school when you got good grades. That's what people kill me about. They give free school to elite athletes. Guess who else they give free school to? Elite students. Free school. Mm-hmm. They give free school to you. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many people actually know that they give scholarships to smart kids. You don't have to train and buy you know what? You can pay the train. You can pay the tutor, Hatter. You can pay the tutor if you want to get free school, Jimmy. You ain't got to pay the trainer. And to be honest with you, it's probably easier to pay the tutor, to be quite honest with you. You're going to get more out of it. You're going to get more bang for your buck. But Hatter right about the JV thing with the Ivy Leagues. But I'm telling you, they got about 30 dudes on the bench, man. There's no limit.
Yeah. You can have no limit. They'll never play though, but they ain't getting on their court now. Jimmy said a long time ago, boy, that uniform sure look good sitting on that desk. A picture of you in that uniform sure looks good. Sitting on that desk at your office.
Yeah, I mean, and
hey, Hatter, won't you? Can I read this real quick? Hey, Martin Rogers said something. Hatter confirmed. Love the Ivies. Mm-hmm. If you decide not to play, or I can't see what it's, or ride to injury or something like that, your status as a student and the financial packet you've accepted is not in jeopardy. So if let's say you get there, right, and you're supposed to be a player. Now, you know you know that better than me about the financial packages and how they work. Yeah. And all of a sudden you decide not to play. Now, they got a rule about that at Cal Berkeley. So at Cal Berkeley, if I help you get to Cal, we did it with a kid who's from China, and all of a sudden, he started getting migraines and couldn't compete no more. We had to keep that dude on the team, man. We could not keep that dude off the team. Because once he counted as part of the team, because what they tried to eliminate is what's going on at USC. You understand what I'm saying, Jimmy? The stuff that's going on where they bring these kids in, hoping that they're going to give some money, the parents going to give some money, and then they get rid of them, and the kids say, I don't want to play no more. And then it allows them to bring another kid in and do the same thing. And you see how the machine keeps going? You know what? I thought I was going to like it. I didn't like it like I thought I was going to like it. But they're already in the school. You can't kick them out of school. So the question is, Hatter, once they get into Columbia, once they get into Cornell and they say, you know what, I don't want to play no more, does it affect their financial aid?
No, it does not. No, it does not.
I mean, this is some serious stuff
No, it does
that
not. Their kids can play.
Talk about
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, their kids, because they are there to be students, athletes, not athlete students. So it does not affect them. Nothing the coach can do, nothing a Chris Walker, you know how Chris Walker threatened you? No, you can sit out, graduate, and then go to another college. Something that we thought about doing, but I didn't want to quit on it. The last year they changed coaches. If you remember, Bill Courtney got fired, and we sat and thought about it. Robert really was just thinking about, Dad, I just want to go to school, and and I'm not going to play basketball for my senior year. And then we had several other people that we had interest in. So, but I just one night, Chris, I said, hell no, we ain't go up there to play no damn basketball, no way. I went up there for you to be a captain of industry. So guess what? That's what you finished. You finished, and he wound up being in their record books, staying that last year, and gonna be in the record books forever. So guess what? That's the. I mean, and nothing they could have did if he just said, "Okay, I don't want to play." Nothing they could have done.
Yeah.
And go on, Jimmy. I'm sorry.
No, going on.
No. What I was gonna say was, and guys, you gotta understand. I did this for 20 years, and Jimmy says it eloquently. I've been on all three sides. I'm telling you right now, there is not another person in the country more equipped to talk to you that's been on three sides. I've been a head coach in college. I've been an assistant coach for 20 years in college, and I've been a summer coach on 2 circuits. I've seen it all, and I've even done announcing at a major level. I have done every single aspect of this business. And what I'm telling you is that the misinformed, when you watch National Geographic, they always, when they're talking about the predators, even the predators, they say, if this dude don't learn this from his mama, what's going to happen, Jimmy? He's gonna die.
He's going to die.
He will not survive. What you saying, Adam?
Uh-huh.
They say, if he don't learn how to hunt, but she going to kick him out one day. If he don't learn instincts, he's going to die, right? And what I'm saying is, guess what we do when it comes to this, particularly people that look like us? Nah, man, Hatter don't know what he's talking about. Yeah. I can spend all my money. I'm going to play forever. Mr. Hatter don't know this. I don't care what Ty Law did or Penny Hardaway or Charles Woodson or how much money they got. I'm going to go a different route. I don't believe Mr. Hatter. Jimmy Hicks can say whatever he wants. I'm telling you, I'm as good as Justice Winslow. I don't care if I'm not ranked in this top 100. My son is better. I'm going to go start a scouting service, and I'm going to show all you guys. I mean, I'm just keeping it 100 with you, because all these dudes out there that try to prop their kids up and then they transfer home, it's never the kids' fault. Man, it wasn't what they said it was. It wasn't what they said it was. It was what it was for the ones that stayed. You know what I'm saying? Because let me tell you something, the good players don't, I'm just telling you, very rarely, again, I don't want Jimmy and Hatter to chop me. Yeah. Very rarely, I work for a guy who's a big-time coach, Billy Gillespie. Billy Gillespie taught me one thing. He says, Chris, we ain't losing the good players. The bad players can get the hell up out of here. But the good dudes, we ain't losing them. What do we got to do to keep them? Them other dudes, they can keep it moving. They can keep it moving. And I'd rather have a good player than a good coach. That's the 2 things he taught me. I'd rather have a good player than a good coach, because you can get a good coach, but it's hard to get a good player. Wow. And the other thing is, I ain't never losing a good player. So the good players usually don't leave. I'm not saying that. I always say never say always.
That's good.
But the good players usually don't leave, guys. Remember that. The good players usually they usually pay the dude they want to stay. When the Cowboys pony up, they could have paid Dez, right, Jimmy? If they want to keep Dez, they could have paid him, right? And look what happened when they let him go.
That's a great
Nothing.
Point. Great point.
That's how it works, man.
Yeah, you lost to the Jets.
Huh?
You lost to the Jets. That's what happened.
No. That's because my man came back. And listen, you know what happens? That we always say this. When you got one of them big time programs, they can always eat that spinach for one game, Jimmy. They can eat that spinach for one game. And look what happened after that one game. Everybody get up to play the Cowboys. Yeah. Right? And wasn't no more spinach to go around, Hatter.
Hey, Jimmy.
They start serving asparagus. And
Jimmy,
look what happened.
I just saw an interesting topic.
Okay.
Erskine, and it made me laugh, and it made me boil up inside. It kind of touched me. He said at the height of his earning years, Charles Woodson used to ride around Houston in a Chrysler 300, rented. I don't know if you know, and he was making $17 million a year. That is absolutely true. For 4 years, Jimmy Hicks, this kid did not buy himself a car. He bought his mom a car. He bought his cousin a car. I got him a car in Oakland. I got the dealership to give him a car in
I was
Oakland.
gonna say he got cars given to him.
Yeah,
right?
in Oakland and in Atlanta, the cousin who he bought the car for, he drove him around. When he came to Houston to train in the summer and stay with me, he just rented a regular car. He didn't wear the crazy jewelry. He never. I mean, he always.
But Hatter, can you do this for me, Hatter? I don't mean to cut you off, but
Okay.
we got to use your expertise
Uh-huh.
to explain to people. And I'm not making fun of this guy. And I know they may be your homeboy.
No, it's
But would you explain to people the difference of how you had to interact with a Charles Woodson, an Anthony Hardaway, and what happened to a Vince Young? Like if Robert Hatter was inserted in that situation,
Oh my God.
I'm 100% confident, Jimmy,
Oh my God.
that would never happen.
We'd have took over.
What
Houston.
happened to Vince Young? It would have never happened.
If I had got Vincent Young, because I'd already had Rashard Lewis, we would have taken over Houston and Texas, and that guy would have been a multimillionaire. And you got to understand, y'all, and I keep telling people this, surround yourself around people that not, listen, I know your cousin, I know your uncle, I know how I trust them. They've been around, I trust them too. But let me tell you something about the Tillman Fertittas of the world. Let me tell you some things about the Bill Gates of the world. Let me tell you some about the Steve Ballmers of the world, and the Barack Obamas of the world. They surround themselves with qualified people. Not just they empower their homeboys too, but they surround themselves by people who've done it. Remember, I always tell you, Chris, if you made straight A's in school, it's a great chance you're going to make straight A's in life. Jimmy,
right.
Go back and look at them straight F dudes you making. And just go back and just in your mind, don't you want to call them names.
That's true. No, that's true.
And look
Hey, Hatter, and Jimmy was one of them. And Jimmy was one of them. And look where he at now. Jimmy was the one that survived. Look at him.
No. I made straight A's.
Jimmy was smart in school.
You know why I know he telling the truth? Because Edna would have beat that head in. That's why I know. God rest our soul.
I mean, making an A was easy for me.
He just made a U in conduct.
I just made straight A's and straight U's. I'm one of the first guys I ever know in the history of mankind to go a whole school term, make straight A's and straight U's. You have to really let this saturate in, let you know just how. Think about it. Then they finally put it together and say, well, hell, every time we give him work, he's getting finished too fast.
But guess what, Jimmy?
With other people.
You can never be in an honor society. You can never be on the honor roll with them U's.
That wasn't my goal.
No, I know. I'm just telling you. That's why. That's why I couldn't. I wanted to be on the honor roll. But back to Vince Young. Vince, y'all got to understand. I wanted to represent that kid so bad. His uncle Keith, and I hope y'all tell him. Keith told us, man, when it's time for my son, my nephew, let's sit down and let's make it happen. But somebody came and gave him a different sale, and he wound up going in that direction. And if you go read the court documents and go look at stuff around, you'll find out it's just, Chris, one of the most important things in life is your decision-making ability. You know, determination. You know, I call them the 3D, determination. You know, it's a few more. But decision-making ability is one of the most key things a young man or a young woman can make in their life, making the right decision. Chris, you made a decision to go to Villanova.
Yeah.
You follow me? It's other schools that wanted you. Jimmy, you made a decision to start RCS Sports. You made a decision to say, I'm going to make all of these coaches' job easier. And by me making their jobs easier, I'm going to get paid. You made a decision to do that. And what happens is we just making a lot of the failures you see in sports is because decision making. Antonio Brown, decision making ability. The little kid, the safety, the lowest paid position in the NFL. The guy you were just talking about earlier, Jimmy, that got suspended and now he's trying to apologize. He made a decision to go on Twitter. Hold up. After Daryl Morey almost caused a geopolitical storm, and he go on Twitter and talking about what he gonna do to somebody. Chris Walker, decision-making abilities is one of the most important things you can try and attempt to teach your kid. And guess what? He ain't gonna make all the right ones now. He gonna make some bad ones. Lil Robert make bad ones. Everybody make bad ones. But your good decision. You remember I told him, Chris, and a lot of people probably didn't hear this. When I dropped him off at school in the 9th grade, all your 9th graders, I never forget it because he bring it to my remembrance. He said, I told him, dude, you got 2 million minutes from this moment until you graduate. And what you do in those 2 million minutes going to determine how the way you live the rest of your life. And he went and took full advantage of those 2 million minutes. And, you know, go Google it, and it'll come out to 2 million in 4 years. So,
but Jimmy, and the reason why we're talking about that is, again, you made a great point, and Jimmy probably can speak to. And I bring up. Again, this is the chop shop. This is what we talk about.
Right.
A kid like a Tack Minor, who we all thought was going to be like. I'm looking at, or who is it, Fred VanVleet or something like that. Tack Minor, I'm telling you right now, Tack Minor was a dude like that.
Yes.
And Jimmy was very close to that situation, and he can explain how people, they all mean well, right? They all mean good, but they don't do good, and they don't know good. You know what I'm saying? And so what happens is, instead of leaving it in the hands of the people that do, everybody want a piece of a pie that don't exist, Adam. Let's create the pie first.
Wow.
Right? But you put the wrong people around you, right? And then guess what happens? Yeah. Jimmy can talk a little bit more intimately about that, but that dude, I'm telling you, who was a kid that he spanked, Jimmy, that everybody, once he played head-to-head against somebody, and they was like, this dude's it. He's going to be the guy.
Yeah, with Tack, it blew up so fast. He got to the Nike All-American camp that was at that time in Indianapolis, and that was, it was only 2 premier summer basketball camps. Either you went to ABCD camp, which was in Teaneck, New Jersey, or you went to Nike All-American camp, and that was just, it was either or. So, and as a sophomore, Tack was a late addition to the camp. Vince Baldwin called George Raveling, got him on the phone, and put him on speakerphone with me, and he asked, could y'all get the kid to Indiana within like a week notice? It's like, yeah, and at that time, we made it happen and got him up there, and by him being a late addition, the teams already was pretty much formed. So they put Tack on the team. He's one of those guys in the camp that just come in and somebody doing somebody a favor. That's what he was. He was a favor, but his name was ringing, but he hadn't played 17U on a sneaker circuit. So they put him on the team. I'll never forget, it's in 5-on-5. He happened to be on the team with a guy that was one of the hottest names in the United States of America during that particular summer of 2001. This young man had video cameras and documentary cameras following his every single move. Not Tack Minor, but this young man who they put him on the team with. And his name was Amari Stoudemire. So Amari Stoudemire, every college coach and everybody in the country was watching his every move. So Tack gets on the team with Amari Stoudemire. And Amari Stoudemire showing now, this ain't no people see this little guy just darting through traffic. And that's kind of like the first glimpse. And at that time, the thing that was different about the Nike All-American camp, Chris, and as a college coach, during those early years of the millennium was that they had a 3-on-3 session. And the 3-on-3 session enabled a lot of the college coaches to be able to evaluate some toughness or some different intangibles about a prospect that you couldn't get normally watching 5-on-5.
Mm-hmm.
So guess who? Remember, Tag Minor was the add-on. The books are getting printed, and they hold on, stop the press, add this one name in there, give him number, whatever. So guess who's on this 3-on-3 team? True story. JJ Redick.
Oh wow.
PJ Tucker.
Mm.
Only 4 guys on the team. I can't think of the other guy. His name, he ended up going to DePaul. But PJ Tucker, who's still in the league, JJ Redick, who's still in the league, they were both Tag Minors. Just imagine PJ Tucker and his toughness, and Tag Minor, those who knew him, and his toughness, and a JJ Redick with the white guy out of Virginia, out of the Hampton Road, in the shadows of the Hampton Roads, with his toughness. That 3-on-3 team kicked everybody's. And that's how the story of Tag began and went on from there. And
how did it dismantle though, Jimmy? Because that's the thing that we're saying.
The dismantling point came the following summer, because Tag Minor had reached at that point. You know, he blew up and his name started to circulate. And he goes and he gets invited to USA Basketball. At that time, they had what they called the Olympic Developmental Festival. That's when it was the equivalent of now they do trials, because they decided to change the format, because to compete during those years, the rest of the world was catching up. And so they decided to change it. But back then, they invited 12 guys from the North, 12 from the South, 12 from the East, 12 from the West. It would be roughly 48 guys they would invite to Colorado Springs to participate in and get some skull therapy and play. Well, that South team, Tag, they end up winning the gold medal. Tag went against Sebastian Telfair, Chris Paul. I'm talking about, you hear guys talk about some of the guys they favor. Oh, he lit him up. That stuff is documented. You ain't gotta, I don't even have to say the word. Just go and Google it, and you'll see what he did against those guys. But in one of those games, like the semifinals, maybe the quarterfinals, it was one of the kids, Tag, they got into a tangle. No swinging, but Tag grabbed him around the throat as he walked toward the baseline, toward the wall. And his momentum carried that young man. It was a guard. And it's almost like he mushed him all the way. And there was a scary moment because there was so much rage. He grabbed him by the throat. And at that moment, they didn't send Tag home because he didn't throw a punch. It's one of those things. But that grab was so powerful. It gave a lot of people who were not fans of his game because Tag, he shot the ball at a high volume. He commanded the ball. And a lot of people say, see, I told you. It was that moment, whereas a lot of people who had done favors for him, and they said, see, I knew we shouldn't let him in here. Because people were trying at every corner that were protesters against.
But why were there protesters? Because
he wasn't. Tag off the court was, as you guys that know him, it's like Jekyll and Hyde. When somehow you see black and white stripes and a whistle goes off,
yes.
It's kind of like the character J.J. Evans played in Uptown Saturday Night with 40th Street Black, and the Bill Cosby put the little bell on and ding 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 ding.
Booten Farnsworth.
That was and I swear to you, it's almost like when I've never seen nothing like this in my life. And it's like when that whistle goes off, he's like in a rage. It's a different Tag Minor. I mean, nothing. He's unstoppable, but he would be his own.
Worse than
would you say, like what I guess would you say, as I was saying with Hatter, that the people that were surrounding him, right? He allowed those people, like Vince Young. I don't even know Vince Young, so I'm just saying. And Hatter made a great point. the way you grow up or the way you allow this thing to unfold. If you see a kid that's probably that has two parents that went to college, is it fair to say that kid's probably going to college? You damn straight it is.
Absolutely.
Right.
You damn straight it is.
Odds on
Right?
the side.
Yes.
Odds on your side. So that's why I'm telling people stability matters.
Chris,
There are certain colleges. Go on, Adam, my
I
bad.
got something for you, and I was just
Okay.
thinking about it. You know, because this what wakes me, this what drives me, and you being around me, you understand. It has been it's common knowledge in sports and agent industry, right? It was a feature a few years back about Sports Illustrated regarding why professional athletes become broke, bankrupt, or destitute. That within 2 years of their NFL career, with 2 years removed from their NFL career, it's 78% of the NFL players are broke, bankrupt, destitute. But what the article doesn't say, however, is that if you're an African American athlete, the percentage is much higher, Chris. It's 93 point. Not much higher. It's 93.
Hold on. You telling me, Hatter, that 99 out of 10 dudes that we watch playing on television that look like us right now, they retire broke or end up broke?
2 years removed from their sport.
2 years removed. Gotcha. Wow.
Yeah. We hear the success stories. We don't hear the horror stories. That's why I was so afraid for the kid, the safety, who just, what he's gonna do now? If they blackball him out of the league, what he's gonna do now? But back to this, Chris. Whether you're black or white, the percentage of financial security after your professional sports career is over does not look good. Who is representing and handling the affairs of these athletes that fall into this 80%, that's 78% and 93%? Chris, you know,
I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know.
Okay.
Tell me.
It's not us. Chris, I talked to a guy. I went in a room one day. I was talking to a potential client, and I gave him some numbers. I said, I got some numbers for you. I said, young man, I gave him that number, 78%. I said, write it down, and told him what happened. Then I gave him, I said, you black, right? He said, yeah. Okay, it's 93% of you. I said, guess what the most important number is? 0. He said, what's that number for? Because that's the number of athletes, percentage of athletes who stayed and was represented by our company. None of them are broke, bankrupt, and destitute. And Chris, what you said about the parents a minute ago, if you got 2 stable college parents, you might have a chance. So when you know, like, all I can tell you, Jimmy, to know a man, you got to look at his history, not his story, because he'll tell you anything. His history. Look at what he done.
That.
Look at what he done. Yeah. Don't mess with that, because I like your quote this morning, and I came back with you and doubled down on you. But
no, go. They need to be on the Chop Shop thread. That's what the boom boom need to be on the Chop Shop thread.
I'll put it on it. But that's all. And what I was talking about earlier, Jimmy, it's about decision making. Let me tell you something. It wasn't always peaches and cream. If y'all knew the fights that me and Penny had about him going back to get his degree, knocked down draft. He don't speak to me. He didn't speak to me. I got $80 million in the bank. Okay.
I bet you Earl Watson wish he would have had a hat around.
Yes.
He might be the head coach of UCLA.
Might be the head coach of Cal. And that's all. And I ain't gonna lie, I fought him because it's hard to tell a dude with $86 million in the bank, man, you got to go to school like I did. Jimmy, in case you didn't hear that, Jimmy, it's hard telling a dude they got $80 million in the bank. Man, you got to go to school like I did. Negro, I got the $80 million in the bank.
But Hatter, that's what it says about putting people around you. Think about this. We talk about what happened at UT. Jimmy may didn't know this story a little bit more intimately than me. I remember, who's the kid that had the leukemia, the cancer at Texas?
Oh,
As Andrew Jones.
Andrew.
Now think about it.
Andrew Jones.
I remember when that kid came out, he was a late bloomer to the McDonald's All-American game, right, Jimmy? He was right there on the cusp and got in. I remember his dad's a great dude. He's come around in a wheelchair. He's got his own health issues. And I remember, again, I don't want to call them PGWs,
Right.
but they thought he was that dude. And think about this, and this is what people don't understand, Hatter,
Right.
about this one and done stuff, or about the NBA and how it's tricking you and how they're trying to put these leagues together that say you don't have to go to college, or put these leagues together and say, no, let's put more money in the G League, and son, you don't need to go to school. And I'm sitting there going like, listen, man, we need to get we need to get more guys like Puffy saying, hold on, hold up, I'm a unicorn.
Yes.
We unicorns.
Right.
Like this not how the world works, man.
That's right.
If the dudes that are making millions are going broke, what chance you got? Think about it, Jimmy. The dudes we're talking about 9 out of the 10 dudes that are making mega contracts going broke.
Right.
And we're telling dudes not to go to school? What are we thinking, parents, for $150,000?
Yup.
And that's at the highest. That don't mean you're gonna make that.
And Chris, you remember the NBA lockout? Jimmy? Remember how the NBA lockout? And
2011, the lockout.
Yeah, and they were talking about and how the players want. See, a lot of people don't understand the players really caved.
Oh, no doubt.
The players really caved in because what? When they're not on the teams, they got to pay all their own insurance. They got to pay everything else for their family. Their family don't get to go to this doctor. They got a lot of money, but those dudes, stuff changed. And a lot of those guys didn't have no war chest. Like we so eloquently told them, 2 or 3 years before. If you wait, dude, it's going to be a strike. Like I'm telling everybody now, the stock market has had a 10-year run. Jimmy, up. Jimmy.
26,000 plus, baby, 26,000 plus.
Jimmy, don't you know something got to happen soon? Don't you know when it don't you know something got to happen soon? I mean, if you just study history, that's why I told you, you know something, you look at the history. So, I mean, it's just an amazing thing, and I'm glad we can just share this stuff, because guess what? Some of these parents, y'all gonna have cousins, they're gonna play in the league for a few. Dude, treat your first contract. And I'm just talking to the friends and the families. Don't ask these kids for that much, man. The kid want to give you something. Don't be that first deal. Let them make it. You ain't had no money all this time. If they want to give you a little something, but let them make it. Cause guess what? That first contract might be the only one they ever have. And so they have to treat that thing like they'll never get another one.
Hattie, the other thing they need to do? Mm-hmm. The other thing they need to do is they need to do with them little, I won't call them thoughts, but them, what they call those women that that hunts those players' contracts down when they come out?
Groupies.
They had another name for them. Tell them to look at all 53 players.
Yeah.
Look at the roster. Don't look at the dude wearing the helmet. Mm-hmm. Look at the entire roster. Mm-hmm. And when you start getting past the number 15 dude, start looking at those salaries. It ain't what people think, Adam.
They're not.
You got people out there working regular jobs making more money than these dudes wearing the uniforms.
Yeah. Not
people don't know that.
Hey, not now. A few years
ago. Not now. You know what I'm saying? But some of these dudes on some minimums. Some of these dudes playing in two-way contracts for $75,000, playing on a two-way in the G League.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now you're right. You're
they cut some of these dudes. You may know this better than me. I know a couple of guys. Mm-hmm. They sign you to a contract, and you on the kickoff team or the whatever they call that team, and then
the practice squad.
The practice squad, and before they got, when that little accelerator comes in your contract, and they got to pay you, what they do every single time?
Cut you.
Ginsu. Ginsu. It's a cold piece, man. It's a cold business.
Chris, now you see why I don't want the guys to make the mistakes of tweeting and losing that job, or cussing a girl out, or tweeting about a girl on your Twitter and losing $30 million. That's why I was talking about that guy. I've seen this stuff happen over and over for almost 30 years, Chris.
But Heather, I still look at these kids' IGs and I'm like, what is going on? I hope you make it to the league where you can write whatever you want. But even LeBron don't do that. LeBron got more money than everybody, and the most popular dude in the NBA, and he don't do that. That's what I don't get.
Chris,
so the dude, Tom Brady don't do that. The dudes who are the best dudes don't do that. What you doing?
You know what I'm trying to do now? Somebody just
What's
sent me
that?
a book. It's a book been out a while. And it said, it's a book called, and no disrespect, matter of fact, it's the utmost respect. The name of the book is How the Jews Invented Hollywood. And I ain't read it all, but it's just talking about, it's a blueprint, Chris Walker, of economic empowerment. You know, they Jews were marginalized, just like, not as bad as we were, but they were their kids couldn't go to school that white people go to when they found. If you remember, Donald Sterling, he changed his name to Sterling. His name was Takowitz. He's a Jewish guy. He changed his name, Jimmy, to Sterling because he didn't want that stigma on him, right? But you know what they did, though? When they wouldn't let them go to their schools, they built their own schools. And when they didn't hire them, they went and started businesses. That's the economic, y'all. That's what I always keep trying to explain to y'all. Quit teaching our kids just to go to college. Let's teach them how to make money. I'm going to repeat that because that's going to go over everybody. Not just teach him to go to college, teach him how to make money. Because I got a lot of friends. My son, he was at dinner about a month ago. He was sitting around talking to people at his table. And those kids were talking about, all these guys up there on Wall Street, they were talking about what, Chris Walker? Student loans.
No doubt.
And how much they have to pay. One guy told me paying $700 to $800 a month. And my son, he didn't say nothing. He just called me back and said, "Thank you, Dad. Thank you for putting me in a position. I don't have that burden." That's why, Jimmy, it was so important to me when Robert F. Smith relieved that student loan debt from them kids at Morehouse. Because them kids going to walk out of there, Jimmy, like, man.
Yeah, I had not just them kids, but the parents too.
Yes.
Because the parents could have been helping them. You don't know how they mortgaged that loan to pay for that education.
Yes. And guess what? He came back and modified it, if you remember. And if the parents took out a loan for those same kids, he going to relieve that debt.
So, Jimmy, do you understand why it drives me crazy? Hatter already knows this, but Jimmy, you deal with it on a regular basis.
Right.
When we have kids that look like us, that can run and jump, and people will give them free school, and they will transfer and leave and not care and not go to school. I mean, where does the fault lie, Jimmy? Is it us? Or are we hyping them up too much and making these people think that they are impervious to failure, or that nothing? I mean, that they can go like a 5'9" dude to go to the NBA. Like, are we the dudes that are purveyors of this BS? Where is this madness coming from, and where does common sense come in?
I think that hyping up too high, I think that's the excuse. That's not the reason, because you can hype up whatever you want to. If my job is on the line, is predicated on me being able to go and identify talent to influence my boss to offer the scholarship or the free education to, then guess what? Either I'm going to get it right or I'm going to get it wrong over a period of time. There's going to be misses for all. The thing is, I really believe, check this out, as I evaluate the evaluators. A lot of grown folk use the kids as pawns in this game to prove themselves right. I think more so, the objective for so many grown folk is to prove that I can go and get these D1 guys. And as I get these amount of D1 guys, you didn't think I could do it. So I'm proving to you that I can. And what happens is with those people, and they want you to give a parade for them when it happens. But that means you've gotten my attention. So that means the next year or 2 years later, I'm watching, ain't no more D1 guys. So now you don't want to accept that accountability and realize there's a one-hitter quitter on every block in every city that comes along every 4 years. It is. Remember M&E Elite?
Oh yeah, I remember M&E.
You remember the Houston Heat?
Yep.
The Houston Swoosh?
Crickets.
I mean,
You stepping on the ant bed, man. You better slow down.
And here's the thing. There's so much talent. They had a kid in Houston, and we had the photo shoot last week or a couple weeks ago for the magazine. And one of the kids, I spoke to the young men during the photo shoot, and I explained to each one of them why they were selected in front of the other ones. And which I think was good, and they commended that because I've never done that before. We only get in there, get it out of there. But I explained so they can understand, when a moment that everybody has a moment where the egg hatch. Well, there's just one kid is on the front cover. And I explained to him, he isn't ranked in the top 100. He isn't ranked in nobody's top 150. He didn't get no offers from no major D1 schools. And I explained to him, I watched him. He played sneaker ball, 17s in the 10th grade, and turned down 2 sneaker programs to come this past summer. He said, to hell with that. Matter of fact, I done been there, I'm good. I'm going to play with my buddies. And his town Beaumont went through and endured 2 major floods in a 2.5 year span. So while this young man is in high school, he was indirectly right there with so much devastation and still endured, made his grades, balled out, and then it brought his team to the Super 16, and they kicked everybody's ass and won first place. And I'm a believer in winners. I can't help but give him a shot.
Who was the kid?
Kason Harrison, Beaumont United, the point guard. That kid there, because I explained to them, people thinking about the flood just 2 months ago in Beaumont. They're not realizing they had another flood just 2 years before then.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you understand how that can knock you into not believing that you can just knock all of the life out of you?
Good word.
You have to endure all of that. And I explained to them young men, this is bigger than basketball. So what I'm thinking is, and there were people that with this young man, they're saying, well, man, he's better than this. He's good. Okay, but sometimes good ain't good enough.
That's right.
Good got to be good enough every damn day. And many people know that these kids don't have the work ethic. They're not cut from the same cloth to be able to endure and be able to want to be good every day. I issued a challenge to people back in the summer on the Chop Shop. You guys remember, I issue a challenge to every summer coach and every basketball coach out there who has a kid on his team that has a vehicle. Remember the challenge, and I'll do it again because basketball season has started yesterday in Texas. I said, go, just act like you just need something. You want to give them something. To ask them to pop their trunk and see of every 5 or every 10, count how many has a basketball and a set of playing sneakers and then some gear in the trunk ready to roll on call.
Oh, please.
You see what I'm saying? What I'm getting at? I did this, and the challenge still exists. And you know what happened? It got crickets. Because you guys know, you know, since even doing it because you know what ain't in their trunk. This is the difference. So then we want everything to be powdered up because you know that the effort isn't there. The work ethic isn't there for most of them. So you want everybody to fall into your fascination of getting this young man. Let's hype him up. Let's get him out there. He's good. And you don't see input normally equals output. The star players right now, most of those guys, first guys leave practice.
Oh, yeah.
Some of your ears. You know that. Y'all know it.
Hey, man, I say it all the time, Hatter. The best player gets coached the least now because everybody is afraid to lose him. And then the minute he gets to that next level where I am, and that's another dude that's lined up across from him that's like, man, I'm trying to get to the league too. I want to be one and done just like you want to be one and done. I want to buy my mama house the same way you want to buy your mama house. But guess what I know? Not only is maybe one of us on this team not going, but maybe only 3 dudes in the whole league going to the league, the whole Pac-12. See, people don't understand that. In some of them leagues, think about it, in the AAC. Now, they got Penny there with them goons from Memphis, but how many dudes going to the NBA?
Great point.
Think about it. Not just your team. See, that's what people get it twisted. I never seen the second leading scorer or the third leading scorer get drafted. I'm keeping on it. I'm just talking about simple analytics. I like to know how many third leading scorers on a college team got drafted.
Don't say never. Because
I can't say never.
No, because your kid from Villanova, he was the 5th leading scorer.
Oh, DiVincenzo.
Pascal.
You know what?
Pascal. And he got drafted number 41.
No.
He was the 5th.
No, not this year. No, he wasn't the 5th leading scorer this year. But his last year, he was senior.
At some point, he was the 5th leading scorer on his team.
I'm talking about in the year of him getting drafted, he was probably their leading scorer, but I agree with you. But DiVincenzo, the little white kid that's sitting on the bench right now for Villanova.
You told me he wasn't good enough.
I didn't think he – and listen, you know what he getting right now, Jimmy? He needs some that pine saw they put on that wood to make that wood a little softer because he ain't getting off that thing with the Bucks. He's struggling to get off that planet.
Yeah.
But he getting that check, though. He played good at the right time. But my point is, to echo what Jimmy's saying is, we have to stop hyping this, making these kids believe. Again, I'm not a dream killer, man. I got dreams just like the next dude got dreams. How do you got dreams? Jimmy got dreams. But when it comes to these kids, I've seen it full circle with these parents. And Jimmy's right. At the end of the day, we're putting too much pressure on these kids to get somewhere that at the end of the day, it's just like a little pinhole that you're trying to get through.
Right.
But what's on the outside of that pinhole is all the opportunity. See, people only think the opportunity is at the end of the rainbow. The opportunity is on the way to the pot of gold, not to the pot of gold. Because guess what? Everybody ain't getting to the end. Everybody ain't getting to the end. There's a whole lot of opportunity along the way, Hatter. There's a whole lot of opportunity along the way, right? Think about this, Hatter. Think about this. I'm gonna digress after this.
Okay.
There's a lot of guys you represented that probably didn't get the big contract in the beginning, but made the most money in the end.
Yes.
Think about that.
Ty Law.
Think about that. And Jimmy, that's probably some dudes that weren't highly recruited in the beginning. They end up, and think about a dude who he's on the team with. Think about a dude like Carson Cunningham. Not Carson. What's his name? Carson Edwards. Carson Edwards. I'm thinking about the kid Cunningham.
I know.
What I'm saying is, think about a kid like that. where he started, and nobody in their right mind would be like, this dude be playing for the Boston Celtics. I'm sorry. They be lying if they said it. Rest in peace, Jared Skills. I know Jared Skills probably paid him a whole lot of boatload of money, a bunch of barbecue to go to Purdue. Because I don't know what the hell he's thinking of going to Purdue, but it was the smartest decision he ever made.
Hey, Jim, I know, we're going into overtime. I know we didn't get a chance to talk. You asked me to bring up the Harden situation. You told me to cue that video up. And but you know what? I want to share some. And then I got a commercial for you. I mean, I'm gonna give. First of all,
hey, before y'all do this, I'm gonna sign off. Y'all finish the show. I'm gonna sign off, and y'all do it if y'all. I gotta run to the city for the games tonight. So,
well, get on out of here then. Watch me.
Watch
how quick I click you off. Watch this. Click. See you later, baby. You out of there.
All right, boy.
But Jimmy, hold up. You asked me. Hold up. I just want to show.
Last night, the Houston Rockets got back in the win column with the win over the Minnesota Grizzlies in 107-100. Actually, I was impressed that the Rockets only gave up like 60 points in the first half again, but clamped down defensively in the second half and pulled out the win. Russell Westbrook did not play last night. James Harden, I think he went off for like what it was, 44 points, I think, in the win. The Rockets still have extreme woes from their bench. But guess what? That was pretty much it from the bench. They had 3 other points from the other guys combined. I like the fact that Clint Capella had a double-double, 13 rebounds, 10 points. Daniel House continued to excel in his role. 15 points, 9 rebounds. That's way more than you should be expecting from Daniel House. PJ Tucker.
Not way more, Jimmy, because stuff fluctuate during the season. It's going to be some times he's not going to get that, then it'll average out. So every now and then he got to do that, because if he don't, he'll flatline.
Well, I mean, eventually flatline is going to average out. That's right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, this was one to the good in the win.
Yeah.
We forget the ones in the losses gets magnified. So you're doing this in the win, and that goes to the good. Now, PJ Tucker, how about 0 points in 34 minutes? 3 rebounds. PJ Tucker must have went the Bill Street the night before or something like that. Something ain't right.
No,
that ain't
he just ain't recovered for those others. He's not good at recovery. He didn't recover from.
Guess how many shots PJ Tucker took last night?
How many? I didn't look.
One.
Well, maybe Memphis defense was designed just to stay in on the corner on him, because Russell wasn't going to play. Stay in up on him on the corner and make James beat you. And James beat him last night. But Jimmy,
speaking of James in the game, I think in the final quarter, James Harden and of course Jay Crowder got into it. Both were hit. Crowder was ejected.
Yeah.
And Harden was
that play
with a flagrant one. And check this out from this moment from the game to get your opinion, guys, on what you think about, was this intentional or accidental?
Things get a little interesting and painful and a lot else. As Harden swings that left arm. Remember, the officials are supposed to be concentrated on the off arm and shoulder moves for offensive players. Well, eventually a flagrant one was called on Harden, but they threw Crowder got tossed. It's run for getting hit in the package. That's not right. After a technical, let's see how that's written. Are supposed to be concentrated on the off arm. Get a little interesting and painful and a lot else. As Harden swings that left arm. Remember, the officials are supposed to be concentrated on the off arm and shoulder moves for offensive players. Well, eventually a flagrant one was called on Harden, but they threw Crowder got tossed. It's run for getting hit in the package. That's not right. After a technical. Let's see how that's written up in the report. Exactly like that. 7 of 6.
gym the other day, is win the battle of the hands. A lot of coaches don't teach this. He was teaching Bryce Griggs and those players and Chris Harris and those players in there to win the battle of the hands. Because Patrick Beverly going to hands you all day. If you don't fight him off with the hands, that's in pros and high-level basketball. If you don't win the battle of the hands, you'd have lost. So I don't think your man was trying to hit that man and get the man right there. No. He ain't the Dwight Howard. If the Dwight Howard had did it, I would understand. Keith Liggins, he's on the feed right now. You got to win the battle of the hands. And all he did is, it's a natural reaction. When I'm dribbling with my right, I'm putting that left somewhere out there to keep you off me.
But Adam,
yeah,
we go to some of the comments in Boomer Room,
yeah,
and of course,
what they like.
And Erskine McDaniel said it looked mild to me, and John Newsom said it was accidental. Marcus Carroll said nope, nope, that wasn't. And
hey,
of course,
I do not want to hear nothing that Marcus Carroll say. He think Corey Brewer should still be in the league.
Well, I mean, based on there's some players in the league that definitely probably not as productive as Corey Brewer could be. There is. Now that's the thing about it. It's like, me personally, I feel that Carmelo Anthony should still be in the league, and he's definitely better than some guys who are in the league right now. But it's more than basketball in a lot of situations. And of course, Selvin Walker is talking directly to you, Hal. He says James Harden knows good and well what he was doing. He was saying, "Get off me," and that is in regarding that move. But another thing last night, maybe it went because it was a late game. Did you guys realize Golden State beat Portland last night?
Yes, sir.
Golden State beat Portland, and understand, we thought the Rockets 4-3 now. They have the same record as Dallas Cowboys. How about Portland being 3-4 this season? The Trailblazers see, this is the thing, Dame Lillard, and at some point in time, the media is going to come tumbling down on him because he's gotten a lot of passes, and the time that he can spend in the studios can be time to find a manufacturer and find ways to get wins. I know it's early, but this Portland Trailblazer team, there's no doggone way that they should have lost, not even allowed, put it like this, allowed 127 points to the lineup that Golden State put on the floor. It ain't no way in hell they should have done that. Other scores last night, the Phoenix Suns. How about that, guys? They're 5-2. They picked up a hell of a home win over the 76ers. Mind you, we know Joel Embiid is serving game 2 of his 2-game suspension. That shouldn't matter. But the fact of the matter is, Devin Booker went bonkers again.
Monty Williams
get the credit right now. But just understand something. It's early on.
He gonna get the blame if they lose?
Yeah, he's gonna get the blame if they lose.
Okay.
But he has the team in positive mode. It took them basically 25 games approximately to get 5 wins a year ago. They're 5-2, 7 games in. This team, understand, do we think Portland's going to be a playoff team or no, it's going to balance off and correct itself. But right now, Portland is not that ticket that somebody that has season tickets to your home team, and they're going to try to say, well, you know what, you can go to Portland. You might really go see Portland now. If nothing else, Kelly Oubre is in the starting lineup, and he played at Bush High School. Phoenix.
Uh-huh.
You might go see them right now. So, but Ben Simmons, 36 minutes, was held to 6 points last night. 6 assists, 5 rebounds. Remember, Ben Simmons flirts with a triple-double every night. Now, don't get twisted. He had 7 steals. That means he's playing some hell of a defense. They made a comeback, and Phoenix really did. In the fourth quarter, took the lead before Mr. Booker took control. This is what the difference is when you're winning like this. Devin Booker now, it ain't just being the guy that's the high scorer on the losing team. You're the high scorer right now on the winning team. He only took 19 shots. He hit 15 of them in 40 points.
And
And a
Jimmy,
double.
this is without the number one pick. What is DeAndre Ayton, the druggie? I mean the guy who got yeah. And Jimmy, hold up, don't speak. Look, somebody else just got on the drug list. We just got
Collins.
John Collins from Atlanta.
Yeah.
Jimmy, he got a 20.
That's three this
three.
season.
Three. See, that's what people don't understand. He been in the program after that first one. Then they gave him another chance. Then they gave him another chance. Now it's 25 games. Oh, they give you plenty of chance in that NBA to get that thing right. Plenty. And Rubio, guess what? Derek Johnson just said something great. Rubio is amazing. Rubio is amazing.
Rubio is playing serious ball right now. That was a good pickup for Phoenix. I mean, seriously. Now the thing is, don't get it twisted. It's going to correct itself. And mind you, Aiden comes back. They can smooth him back on in there. They getting good minutes from Baines. Baines was reserved 15
I can't
points.
stand Baines.
Why?
That's the one who fell on Steph's hand. You can't, if you're no.
It's business. It ain't personal. It's business.
But it's personal to me when it's Steph. Everybody else's business, not with Steph. But keep going. So we can get out of here.
Also another game. How about the Pelicans lose to the Nets last night, and Brandon Ingram scores a career high in that particular game, and Kyrie Irving goes off for 39 in the win. And this Pelican team, guess what? The more they lose, the longer it's going to take for Zion to come back. I wouldn't be surprised if Zion just packed it on in, as we said before, based on the losses. Now, if they were winning, you got a reason to come back. Because think about it. Why would Zion come back by the time he's ready, and the team is, let's say, 5-20? What the hell purpose is going to be for him to come back for? Understand? So
shut it down. You know, Jimmy, they sold 12,000 season tickets for Zion. That ain't never happened in that city ever.
And they can't get no refund either. So that means money on the wood. It's all good.
Money on the wood.
And that's the truth.
Money on the wood.
And one of the things is this team, Lonzo Ball is still on the floor. And the thing that you guys not realizing, eventually, point guards are determined by their wins. And this was an opportunity, like a game like last night against the Nets. I understand it's Kyrie on the other side. I'm not saying Lonzo's supposed to go and stimmy Kyrie. No. But what I'm saying is, Lonzo, this Pelican team, even though it's not, see, you can't miss what you never had. Who's to tell that they would still be 1-6 with Zion? But this team has enough experience where they should not be 1-6. That's all I'm saying. This Pelican team, they shouldn't be 1-6. So if Lonzo Ball is that, you got to find a way to help generate wins with this Pelican. They got JJ Redick paying him max money. You ain't heard his name 3 times all year.
They ain't get no max money.
Well, they paid not max money. They paid him. They paid him a nice grip. You get it back.
Yeah, but Jim, wait till the 20-game mark. Like somebody said, James is the biggest ball hog ever. Dude, his job is to shoot Otis Lanier Jr. He is the 2 guard, or the what y'all call it, the hybrid. That's his job. Hey, Jim, I'm finna get off this show because I got a meeting I got to go to. This man say he the biggest ball. That's his job. His job ain't to do nothing else but put the ball in the basket or attempt to. And guess what, Otis? If you was playing opposite, if you was on the same team, his misses is better than your mates. And I rest my case. Jimmy, you want to roll down Dino's back and let's get the hell out of here.
I got stuff doing. Of course, guys, get out if you hadn't done so. That's where I'm about to go right now. And I went on earlier to the polls. The line was a little bit too long for me. I'm going to go try it again and cast my ballot. If you're out there right now, do your part, man, and get out there.
Sylvester Turner.
Vote for whatever you want to vote for.
I'm telling them, Sylvester.
Yeah. Just get out there and vote. And that is very important to be able to look your kids in the eye and say, well, look here, I shot my shot and certain candidates. Anyway, guys, on behalf, of course, the hater, Chris Walker, the hatter, and myself, the hat, Jim Hicks, we'll see you guys in 22 hours, man. Make sure you share the show. That's very, very important. Share the show on your timelines with your friends. Share today's show. And we're going to continue this conversation on tomorrow, guys. See you guys. We're up out of here, man.
We out of here, but Jimmy, look what Otis just wrote. He said he whooped our hearts behind. Otis, man, I'm going to pray for you, Doc. We out of here, man. Golly.
Be safe. Y'all share the show, baby.